It has been a phenomenal weekend when it comes to professional wrestling. We had WWE down in Perth, Western Australia for 3 fantastic nights, SmackDown, Crown Jewel, and tonight's Monday Night Raw. We also had TNA's Bound for Glory, which turned out to be one hell of a show. It elevated TNA to the level that we all knew TNA can perform at. But we're not here to talk about TNA. We are here to talk about the shift, and I mean monumental shift that we got on the end of Monday Night Raw tonight. And when I say end of Monday Night Raw, I don't mean the final segment. I mean the final few seconds of Monday Night Raw. The adverts had come up. The credits had come out. They were saying goodbye to Perth, Western Australia, and I was half a click away from turning my stream off. And Bron Breaker decides to spear through Seth Rollins, abolishing the Vision. Now, when they put this group together, we all saw the writing on the wall that the Vision was always going to betray Seth Rollins. We thought a year, 18 months from now, Bron Breaker was going to do this exact thing in a very similar way. In no way, shape, or form can you tell me that 6 months after Paul Heyman chose to join alliances with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, did you believe that the Vision was going to come to an end this early? Now, there are so many ways we can speculate, but honestly, WWE did a phenomenal job keeping this hidden if the writing had been on the wall the entire time. WWE has been, let's say, stale for the last several months, but as a fan, I have still thoroughly enjoyed it. I have read what people are saying online and choosing to criticize creative and the creative direction for WWE, and I can see the fans' frustration. But in no way, shape, or form did any fan believe that the Vision was going to come to an end this early, and especially in this manner. Now, which avenues are we going to go down? I've seen a lot of people online suggesting that, you know what? Finally, some young blood is taking out the old guard, and we can finally move away from having the guys like Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk, the seasoned veterans, running the show and every storyline being built around them. Was today a write-off? I don't think so. I think maybe this was a break for Seth Rollins because there's a potential actual injury for once. But then again, we're also talking about Seth Rollins and this actually being a work as well. You never know with Seth and the way he did the knee injury leading into SummerSlam to ruse CM Punk out of the world title. You just never know at this point. But overall, this was put together to perfection. Now, where do we go from here? If Seth Rollins is legitimately injured and it is a shoulder injury like people are suggesting online, there has been images of him walking around Perth in a sling earlier in the day before Monday Night Raw, then yeah, Seth's gonna need some time off to heal, and what happens to the world title? I don't think we get next week a relinquish of the world title, but they can find a way to build around a 3-week or 4-week return, or we could actually get it relinquished and we get a tournament for who becomes World Heavyweight Champion. Obviously, after tonight's Monday Night Raw, CM Punk is the #1 contender, but you have shouts of Jey Uso, LA Knight, Gunther, who is potentially returning. You have the likes of Bron Breaker, who has really made a name for himself in the last 12 hours, to get their hands on that World Heavyweight Championship. I was also going through my comments section earlier today, and I saw, bro, nuts, bring Brock as the new leader of the Vision now. I really like the avenue and the thought process on this, but I want to shift it just slightly so we can really get a story. We were all saying that Bron Breaker versus Brock Lesnar was a serious possibility. With this shift in positioning for WWE, really putting focus on Bron Breakker as a new top guy in WWE. He's completely ready, but what a way to test himself by going against the beast incarnate Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania in a phenomenal main event for potentially the World Heavyweight Championship. Also, at the end of Monday Night Raw, we did see Bron Breakker literally say to Paul Heyman in a very threatening way, "You're either with me or you're not." And Paul had to make that snap decision, but it was the way he pulled him by the scruff of the neck, being like, "You really don't have a choice here, so just say the words and we can move on." He really didn't have a choice in the matter. So maybe this is going to be a timeline and a storyline of, Paul Heyman is helping out Bron Breakker, but at the end of the day, he's kind of being held hostage by Bron Breakker as well, and cue Brock Lesnar to come in and save the day to save his advocate once again, going full circle, and Paul Heyman rightfully ends up back with Brock Lesnar like he has been for his basic 20-year career. There is such a story there that could really bring it all together. And we also did see Paul Heyman quite recently go up to Brock Lesnar being like, "We need to have a conversation." Or was it Brock Lesnar over to Paul Heyman? It was one of the two, but nothing has come from that. So we have opened up a land of opportunity, and I'm really excited that WWE chose to pull the trigger. And maybe it wasn't a choice. Maybe it was the fact that Seth Rollins is actually injured and they had to pull the trigger so early on this, because honestly, I thought the entire setup for War Games was going to be a fourth man to the Vision, and literally the Vision versus some form of all the big badass baby faces in WWE. War Games now has been blown out of proportion. And I'm not trying to be dramatic on this, but if this is the case, they have not done absolutely now no build to War Games, and we have 5.5 weeks, almost 6 weeks to get there. WWE has shown that they can pull a story out of nothing quite recently, but 6 weeks to build War Games is kind of interesting. Yes, we can swerve over to the Wyatt 6 versus the MFTs, which would be a perfect War Games setup for SmackDown. But really, when you think of War Games, you think of the top dogs in WWE, and most of those top dogs are over on Monday Night Raw. So with that being said, where does WWE go from here when it comes to War Games? What WWE has done with making Bron Breakker tear the Vision apart has massive implications for so many men on the roster. It takes away the Seth Rollins CM Punk feud potentially for the world title, because now Braun has just slid his way right into there, and now Bron Breakker is a massive conversation to get into that world title picture. CM Punk Seth Rollins looked like it was going to be built for potentially Survivor Series, with CM Punk winning at the end of Monday Night Raw, but now it's all been blown out of proportion. What happens with the likes of Seth Rollins if this injury is going to keep him sidelined for the potential rest of 2025? You don't know if it's a rotator cuff, if it's a separated shoulder. That coast to coast flying headbutt was no joke, and he showed severe discomfort following that exact spot, and literally he was holding his arm heavily padded, might I add, the entire Monday Night Raw. Like, Seth normally takes the coat off and you can see like he's visually fine, but tonight it was protected once again. Or we could go one other way, and we are getting rused once again for Seth Rollins to screw CM Punk, and this was an entire mind-blowing shock that's going to come out for Survivor Series, that yeah, Seth Rollins isn't injured and the Vision are totally behind him. I don't see that being the case, but then again, it is WWE, and WWE just tends to throw mud at the wall sometimes to see if it sticks, and sometimes my God, do we get episodes like tonight. Monday Night Raw overall was a very good show, and the Perth crowd really helped carry us through a very long weekend in professional wrestling. But this overall turn by Bron Breaker to allow either Seth Rollins to go and heel and come back as a babyface to take out Breaker and Bronson Reed, the guys who put him out of action. If this is a storyline write-off to let him go heel, is a great way to go about this. But overall, Seth Rollins is and has been the guy since WrestleMania, and now it looks like they're moving away from it. Did the vision fail? I don't think so. I think the vision was a very good way to get a lot of very important eyes on Bron Breaker and Bronson Reed, and I think going into 2026, this is a legitimate big boy move from Triple H, who has faced a lot of criticism over the past 6 to 8 months over not building new and younger talent. Everyone's been saying, oh, it's everything that he inherited from Vince. Well, guess what? If this is a move by Papa H, and this is a bold move by Papa H, at this point, all of us people watching professional wrestling and people like us that think, you know, we know more than we do, we don't know shit. We just sit here and watch professional wrestling and really enjoy it. So guys, I'm going to end it there. What were your original thoughts on the turn from Bron Breaker on Seth Rollins, and where does WWE take this storyline? Overall, I'm not mad, and WWE has done an amazing last 2 jobs over SmackDown and Monday Night Raw to make both episodes highly interesting and very investment oriented. I am invested in almost every storyline once again in WWE, and it has been over a 72-hour period. Guys, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and put the bell on. Don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter. We are doing weekly newsletters. Every day goes right into your email with updates, stories, and some vintage stuff from the past. Guys, like always, be good people.